Today we're going to the grand opening of TUCCI, a brand new Italian restaurant from the owners and chef behind the legendary Delmonico's. Max TUCCI is a third-generation owner of Delmonico's whose grandfather brought it back after Prohibition and hosted famous patrons like the Kennedys, Elvis, and Marilyn Monroe. We're Kristin and Will, and we're on a mission to find the best food in New York.
Delmonico's continues to be one of our favorite restaurants in the city, so when we heard they were opening a new spot, we had to try it. Even though we happened to snag the first reservation, we're not working with the restaurant, so don't worry, we'll still be totally honest about the food, and we'll let you guys know if there's anything special for the grand opening. So let's check it out.
While we're waiting for our food, I figured I'd talk about the ambiance. First off, the music is blasting, which is so much fun, but I'm sorry if it's a little loud on the camera. I also just love the furniture. There are all these velvets against this exposed brick, and the lighting is awesome. I also noticed that these lamps and the linens are the same as Delmonico's, and I love the TUCCI font. Apparently it's Max's father's signature, which I think is a really nice touch.
So we're not only here on opening night, but we're also the very first people in here. So it's gonna be a little bit difficult to pick what we want on this menu. We're kind of going in blind. We just asked what they would recommend, and they kind of said everything was good, but he highly recommended the octopus as an appetizer, so we're probably gonna try that. We had octopus at Delmonico's as well, and it was fantastic. The other thing from Delmonico's that's here is the Delmonico Steak. So if you don't make it to Delmonico's and you want their signature steak, you can get that here, and it's supposed to be prepared almost exactly the same. We're not gonna get that this time, but it is a fantastic steak, so if you can't make it to Delmonico's, I would highly recommend getting that here. We might order this chicken parm, but $44 for a chicken parm is by far the most expensive I've ever seen.
We just got served this huge bread basket. The bread and the focaccia are both made in-house. Let's try a piece of both. It looks so nice and crunchy on the outside, yet the inside looks so soft. Also just wanted to mention how cute these little dishes are. I love that they look like little flowers. To me, they just look springy, which is perfect because the weather's starting to get nice finally. Also, like, how cool are these black utensils? I love the contemporary vibe in here. Okay, the one thing about the butter is it's kind of hard and there's no like olive oil or anything, but let's try it. So I'm just gonna go with the regular bread first. It literally looks so fresh on the inside and the outside so crunchy. Wow. That's good bread. It's so soft, but yet that outside is just so crispy, and it almost has like a little bit of char on it or like smokiness. Really good. Okay, now let's try this focaccia. I guess I'll put a little butter on it too. This one feels even crunchier than the other bread. Okay, let's try it.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. That is incredible. So crunchy. So like garlicky and flavorful with herbs. I think I just had a whole like roasted garlic clove with the bread. That's really good. I honestly don't think I've had a more flavorful piece of bread. It would be really good with olive oil, so it's a shame we didn't get some, but I'm gonna devour it anyway. It's so good. You could see from the mess I made how crispy those were. So fresh. Oh my goodness. That was so good. We just got our appetizers. We got the octopus and the meatballs. Everything looks amazing. I think I'm gonna start with a meatball. It's kind of crazy though because they're a little smaller than I was expecting and they're like $9 a piece, so I better savor it. But there's Parmesan cheese on top. It looks like the tomato sauce is so fresh. Let's give it a try. Wow. They are so flavorful. I taste the oregano, the Parmesan cheese. That tomato sauce is not too acidic, but it's also got a very strong tomato flavor. Wow, that's delicious. So good.
Are they worth being the most expensive meatballs we've ever had?
Probably not. Okay, let's try this octopus. I'm gonna grab a big piece from the end and I'll try to get a little bit of all the sauces. So I'll get a little bit of pesto, a little bit of this tomato paste, and some of the cannellini bean puree, and a piece of that octopus. It also looks like breaded or something, maybe like dipped in flour. Here we go. Wow, that is 10 out of 10. That coating around the octopus gives it a little bit of crunch, and it is so tender. Like one of the most tender octopus dishes I've ever had. And the sauces add so many complementing flavors. Like that cannellini bean puree adds like a savoriness, but yet the pesto has like that basil and a little bit of lemon in it. Such a great pairing with the octopus. Oh, out of these two, I would definitely prefer the octopus. But if you're not a fish person, the meatballs are good as well. But this to me is on another level. I feel like for the meatballs, I've kind of had good meatballs elsewhere. So not super outstanding in my opinion.
These definitely look really good. The cheese on top looks really good too. Honestly, these taste almost exactly like my grandma's meatballs, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, usually I get those for free and these are $9 a piece. They are good though.
She'd probably be very honored to hear that.
My grandma makes good meatballs.
We just got our main entrees. We got the agnolotti con tartufo, chicken parm, and lasagna. First impressions for the portion, especially of the agnolotti, it's pretty small for the price, but let's see how things taste. Wow. I was not expecting that. It's almost like sweet. It tastes a little bit of onion, but overall I kind of get like notes of honey and truffle. That's actually really good. Maybe I should take back what I said about the portion for the price. Okay, now let's move into the chicken parm. So it looks like there's 2 pieces of chicken here, and it's on top of all the tomato sauce. The presentation is pretty interesting. I think it's pretty creative too. But I'll take a piece of chicken, put some sauce on top. It's kind of crazy that this chicken parm is $45. I don't think I've ever had chicken parm that expensive before, but let's see how it is. Wow. The chicken is cooked perfectly. And the chicken to breading ratio is really nice. I would say it's a little bit more saucy than cheesy, but delicious, and the flavoring and the breading is amazing. Last but not least, let's try this lasagna. This lasagna seems very hearty. There's a lot of layers of pasta, a lot of cheese, and a lot of meat. Like I could see the meat just flowing out of it. Okay, so I'll make sure I get a little bit of everything. I do have to say, like, look at all that meat in that bite. And there's so much more.
That was a huge bite.
Wow, that meat doesn't taste like your typical ground beef. Maybe there's like pork or sausage in there too, but it's so flavorful. And the cheese with the sauces and the pasta is like the perfect texture. It's not too squishy, but it's not too al dente. It's right in the middle. It gives like a little bit of something to chew on. That's really good. And it's nice and hearty too. Wow. I think overall, this is actually my favorite, just because it's so unique and different. And then after that, I think I'd say lasagna. Just because that's a good piece of lasagna and that meat is so flavorful. And then last, I'd say the chicken parm, just because it gets really tender. I kind of prefer it more cheesy than it is. I think there's just so much competition with chicken parm that it's hard for this to be the standout dish on the table. It's also hard to justify that it's $45. That's crazy to me. This, honestly, to me, isn't worth it. But this would actually be a really good side to the steak, I think. Because it's not really like a super Italian pasta with like your tomato sauce and a lot of cheese. It's almost like an elevated mac and cheese, kind of. I don't know.
What?
It's really hard to explain, but it's good. If you come here, you gotta try that.
Elevated mac and cheese? I need to try this. Wow. That's extremely different. Doesn't really taste like mac and cheese to me. It's very corn forward. It almost tastes like ground up corn on the cob in like pasta form. It's really, really good. It's very sweet. but not in like an overpoweringly sweet way. I like that a lot. That would actually be really good with a Delmonico steak. I think like maybe the move is, if you do come here, split like a Delmonico steak with someone and that pasta dish and maybe the octopus. But we're picking all of the like least Italian things. That is really good. I still think I prefer the other one. It's definitely more unique. It's very meaty. And the meat definitely has a unique flavor, but I like it a lot. Try this chicken parm, $44 chicken parm. As far as chicken parms go, this is an excellent one. Even though it does look like there's a pretty good amount of cheese on it, it's not overly cheesy. It's very light. The layer of cheese is pretty thin, but it is really good. I like it a lot. Well, we just finished up at TUCCI. Everything we had was really pretty good. The octopus was fantastic, and I would definitely recommend the agnolotti. That was really good. We also saw the burrata going by at the end. That looked great. The ambiance and the decor were beautiful. They had this really cool big like bar slash nightclub area downstairs. That looked really fun. But honestly, I don't know if I would come back. I just think that there are so many great Italian options in the city, and this was pretty overpriced for what you get, in my opinion. But let us know if you guys ever get the chance to come here. Make sure to subscribe if you like this video. We will see you in the next one.